I'm not going to give the full life story of Howard Hughes, but for those who aren't familiar, because that's a different episode, I'm going to talk about one particular event in his life. But if you aren't familiar with this weirdo, he was an aviation/movie producing millionaire debonair who eventually started being afraid of everything and bottling his own private line of preserves, let's just say. But back in the 1940s, he was on top of his game. He was flush, which is something he stopped doing later, with money, and he was inventing new types of airplanes left and right, which was great because what just dawned on you?
I know what's coming. Go ahead.
Oh, do you?
I think I
Is it
do.
a Kokomo parody? So he's making all these planes, which was great because World War, the one with even more airplanes, was raging, and they needed even more.
We need a plane that can carry planes. What do you got?
We need even more airplanes for this one. Faster ones that could kill better. This is why towards the end of the war, this is World War II, by the way, the U.S. Army commissioned Hughes to build one. What he came up with was called the D2. Mm-hmm. And the previous one was the R2, but it was kind of finicky.
He needs really a combination of both.
Which is how the Spruce Goose came out. I need to combine the R2 with the D2 to make one giant plane that'll never take off. But this one was there's another D2 reference. This one was no knuckle puck to the back of the net. Mighty Ducks.
Oh, got it.
This could fly fast and it could fly far. He built only one and showed it to the Army dignitaries, and shortly after they saw it, the hangar it was in was struck by lightning and the plane was destroyed.
Whoa.
R2. His receptor's a little fried, but I'm getting a transmission still.
Can I go on a weird aside real quick before you continue?
Yeah.
How do you feel about when they spell out R2D2 A-R-T-O?
I hate that.
I hate it.
Like his name isn't. He's not Armenian. Like his name isn't R2.
Yeah, he's a droid.
Yeah,
it's a number assignment.
It's okay to give him a number.
Yeah,
and the same with C-3PO.
Yeah.
No, his name. These are not people.
Yeah, they're droids. They're lovable droids, but they're still droids. They have like numbers for names. It's fine.
This one was called the R2 though. So the Army was still impressed. The R2 to the D2 here.
Yeah.
They were still impressed, so they asked Hughes to build a high altitude version of the D2 made of aluminum that could be used as a spy plane. And what he came up with was the XF-11, which I think is a bounty hunter. It was to be the fastest long-range plane ever built and also the highest flying one ever built as well. Right. It cost $8 million to build it, and the Army canceled their contract after he did because World War II one ended and became World War You Better Wear a Jacket.
Right. It became the Cold War, which nobody actually showed up for.
So now Howard Hughes is stuck with this ridiculously expensive prototype for a plane that nobody wanted anymore. So he decided to just keep moving forward with it anyway. Right. And that meant a test run. Like this is the sort of thing you could do when you have millions of dollars.
Right. And you're Howard Hughes and you're kind of Howard Stark.
Yeah. I thought his name was Richard Stark. No, I'm thinking of Ringo Starr, Richard Starkey. Is Ringo Starr Iron Man? Is that what these movies are about?
Tony Stark was based on Howard Hughes, but when I watch the movies, he really comes off as a Howard Stark, which is, I think, what they were going for.
Who's Howard Stark? Is that his dad?
His dad. What are you asking? Just run past it.
No, this podcast is mostly about you teaching me what Marvel movies are about.
And you rejecting every piece of information you get.
So he's ready. He wants to keep doing it. He's going to do a test run.
I'm going to do it. No one can stop me. My name is Howard Hughes.
Yeah.
Except for germs.
His test run was held at the Hughes Airfield in Culver City. And just as he was about to lift off, he almost crashed into a bunch of trees.
Okay.
What do you expect from an airplane that costs the equivalent today of $100 million?
Oh my God.
But according to Hughes, at least, all it took was a little tweaking, and it was back into the sky on his first actual flight in this plane, July 7th, 1946.
Okay.
This is the event we're here to talk about.
Okay.
At 5:25 p.m., he managed to take off without hitting any trees, and he was soaring high and fast above Los Angeles. Time of his life.
This is the best I'll ever be.
Hi, Marion Davies.
Yeah, I don't need Jane Russell or Yvonne DiCarlo. I'm in a big plane. Yeah.
I'm going to fly close to the sun.
My name is Icarus.
It was supposed to be a 20-minute flight, but things were going so well that he wanted to show off a little and Gilligan's Island this thing. He wanted to do a full aerial tour of LA, and that was just the sort of hubris that the Beverly Hills Bermuda Triangle was waiting to happen. At a little before 7 p.m., the radio control tower got a message from Hughes saying that his landing gear was having some trouble.
Okay.
In reality, what had happened was one of the propeller blades developed a hydraulic leak that made the plane start pulling to the right. Kind of like your car driving past the...
Just normal.
Yeah, kind of like me on a skateboard, you driving.
My car just doing it normally.
Which you consider to be your skateboard.
Which has propellers.
The plane was leaking oil, so Hughes started to head back, but then full-on airplane nightmare scenario catastrophe hit. And the rear propeller blades went into reverse.
Oh my God.
So now the plane was losing altitude rapidly, and he was miles from his airfield, and he was right above Beverly Hills.
Oh my God.
It was clear that this plane was going to crash, but Hughes refused to eject because then the plane would crash uncontrollably into the ground. And it would hit God knows who, God knows what.
So he wanted to control landing as much as possible.
I want to land on my enemies. He wanted to make sure nobody, as much as he could control it, nobody would get
I know
hurt.
where Jack Warner lives.
Which of my mistresses are going to tattle on me? Instead, he tried to get the plane to the Los Angeles Country Club golf course, which was nearby. In worst case scenario, he bends Cary Grant's 9-iron or whatever.
It'll be fine. It'll be a cute story they tell later. They'll take a picture and they'll hang it in the
They'll
cafeteria.
go to the Brown Derby and they'll all laugh about it. That didn't happen. So he's aiming it and doing everything he can to get this plane onto the golf course. And then the plane just gives out and he loses all of his altitude. The plane was not going to make it to the golf course. First, the plane tore the roof off of 803 North Linden. Then 805 North Linden got sliced by the right wing of the airplane through the upstairs bedroom, just missing by a few feet the two people living in that bedroom, who were the brother and sister-in-law of Rosemary DeCamp, who was in a spookily titled movie called 13 Ghosts. Then the engine flew 60 feet into the air through this house and into the house at 810 Whittier, and then the whole plane hit the back garage and tore through the trees into 808 Whittier, which it split entirely in half, where the plane came to rest at 7:20 p.m. Rest is a gentle word for when it hit the ground. Two military men named Sergeant William Lloyd Durkin and Captain James Guston, who just happened to be staying at the house that the engine flew through, came running to see why did a plane engine just fly through our house. What they saw was an airplane on fire inside the house next door, and the man inside, who could they recognize this pile of injured flesh as being Howard Hughes, I'm sure they would have been starstruck, was also on fire. Howard Hughes was on fire, which was bad because there was an 800-gallon tank of gas strapped to this airplane, and unbeknownst to them, although they were about to find out, the crash had broken the gas main under the house as well, which, might I add, was also on fire.
Oh my God.
So these men dragged Hughes out of the wreckage just before the entire thing exploded.
Wow.
He was 2 houses east of making it to the golf course. He was also 2 houses south of the Beverly Hills Bermuda Triangle.
Oh my God.
If you want to see a recreation of this, they did so in The Aviator.
That's right.
But also there's actual news footage online of the aftermath of these houses. Like it looks like Europe in World War II.
I think a kamikaze pilot just landed in Beverly Hills.
The Battle of LA finally happened. Oddly enough, that house that blew up belonged to another military guy named Lieutenant Colonel Charles Meyer, who was not home because he was busy being one of the interpreters at the Nuremberg trial, which was going on while this crash happened. The papers described it as a $100,000 mansion, which is a phrase that only has ironic meaning now. Imagine getting in that early, and then Howard Hughes flies into your house. Also,
did you want something? Where's the golf course?
What'd you expect for $100,000? Parking in Beverly Hills, am I right? And then he just like beeps the car and walks onto the golf, beats the plane and goes on. Also, the house that got sliced by the right wing at 805 North Linden was designed by Wallace Neff, who also designed Pickfair. And in 2013, that house was bought by Morad Neiman, who ran a wholesale business in the fashion district and was arrested in 2014 for laundering money for the Sinaloa drug cartel.
Hell yeah.
But back to the fiery wreckage of Howard Hughes. Miraculously, nobody in any of the houses or the neighborhood was injured, and 8,000 people gathered to see what had happened, which is crazy when you go to that intersection. You're like, I would be crowded with 30 people here.
Oh my God.
But what happened to Howard Hughes?
Yeah.
Well, he fractured his nose and his skull.
Oh, right. He has those pictures where his nose is all Chinatown.
He punctured his knee.
Oof.
Broke 2 ribs, one of which punctured his lungs, which
Stop saying punctured.
To put it in layman terms, they popped him. He got popped, Greg.
He got popped twice.
His lungs were also crushed, along with his collarbone. His skin was covered in 3rd-degree burns. He had his heart knocked to the left side of his chest cavity.
What?
And he spilled all of his pee jars.
When he does the Pledge of Allegiance, he has a slight adjustment where his hand goes. That's awful. Poor guy.
The scariest part for me was the heart being knocked.
Yeah. That's not good for you.
Yeah, that's not something that a cast is going to fix. Yeah, unless it's the cast of A Chorus Line. He was rushed to the hospital and had to have 2 blood transfusions. And Howard Hughes was given a 50-50 chance to live. But when they got him there, the first thing he told the nurse was, "I'm Howard Hughes."
Oh, do you have health insurance? I'm Howard Hughes.
I am health insurance. That's my name. Don't wear it out.
Give me 2 days, I'll become a doctor. I can figure it out. I figured a lot of things out.
Wait till you hear what he does in the hospital.
Geez.
The newspapers reported on his health every single day, and it was not an easy journey for him at all, but obviously he didn't die. He recovered fine. Well, kind of. Nor did being basically dead really stop him from being Howard Hughes. He was conducting business from the hospital bed as if nothing had happened. He was giving orders on how to fix what went wrong with the plane. He's like, I know, I could do this right again.
I could figure it out, yeah.
This was nothing.
Don't have it crash into houses. Okay. Note number 1.
More golf courses. Make the city safer. He even hated the hospital bed so much that he created new designs for it while he was there that are now standard functions on hospital beds. Like when you push a button and it adjusts the angle of you lying there. Howard Hughes came up with that when he was in the hospital during this accident.
Stick him in a mechanic shop. Have his car break down. See what he comes up with.
Let's just put him in every scenario. Let's just like incapacitate him in different areas and see what he could.
So how would you fix this kitchen if you lived here?
How would you redecorate this room?
Pillows, windows gotta be bigger.
Your plane just crashed and you're gonna have to rehabilitate in my den. But as impenetrable as he seems to be in all of this, the experience changed him forever. To start, this is when he started growing a mustache so that it would cover the scar that this accident left him. But supposedly this is also where his lifelong addiction to opiates started, from the painkillers they had him on in the hospital. And some people say that this whole experience disturbed him on such a deep level that this is where all of his weird behavior that we all grew to know and love him for started. Like it all from this horrific accident. But after an extended hospital stay, he was good to go, and he attributed his miraculous recovery not to his doctors and nurses, but to drinking orange juice every single day.
Louise.
Save the blood transfusion. Give me some Tropicana. But that was not the last of the XF-11s. No. There was another.
Oh boy.
The Army had ordered him to build 100 of them, but he only got 2 done before they canceled the order. And on April 5th, 1947, Howard Hughes once again took to the skies in an XF-11, because after Icarus flew too close to the sun, all he had to do was drink some orange juice and make the sun less hot so he could fly too close and do it again.